Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villa, and welcome to episode 115 of Raise the Hulk, our bid for world domination with Aston Villa. And today it's a summer transfer special. You can see we've just had the end of season awards. We haven't skipped ahead too far. One thing that has happened since last episode though is the European awards have been announced. Rashid won the Golden Boot. So not just Aston Villa's top goal scorer, but also the top goal scorer in the Champions League, which is good. A couple of players in the Dream Team, just a few. Kostic, Forster, Rodrigo, Nepo, Marin, Silla, and Rashid in the Champions League Dream Team. A little bit unlucky, I think, for Gaz Mosley there. You can see he was runners-up in the goalkeeper award. Kostic and Nepo was sort of second and third in the Defender of the Year. Rashid was Midfielder of the Year ahead of Marin and Salah there as well. We didn't get anybody in the Striker of the Year. Perhaps a little bit harsh on Lab there, but it is what it is, and that was that. Now, let's have a quick look at how things went last season and see where we perhaps need to look to strengthen. Gaz Mosley, 59 games, the Iron Man of the team with the most appearances. Lancaster's out on loan, so we can sort of ignore him. But you can see there, Forster, Kostic, Nepo as well. All these guys played so many games. And as always, as I say, if we look down the bottom to see perhaps where we need to look, or who we need to look to get rid of, there's no one down here that is not a youngster that's not really playing. The first person you'd come to is maybe, Dali and Beck. Do we really need two of them? But I think almost that we do, to be honest, because that's sort of second and third choice left backs. You don't want one injury and then find ourselves sort of with one left back left to sort of play all the games. Messi, though, is obviously retiring. It is going to be sad to see him go. What I think we will look to do is we will look to sign him as a staff member. He's really good at working with youngsters. He's got some good mental attributes. I don't know if he's ahead of youth development just yet, but maybe if we can get him in as like an under-18s coach or something, get his licensing up, get him sort of a bit of experience, and just kind of see how it works out. But if we can keep Messi at the club, let's face it, we want to do it, don't we? So yeah, we have a pretty well-balanced team, I think. No one's not playing that we perhaps need to look to get rid of. If we look at the goals, we are really happy with our goal scoring this year. Rashid obviously led the way, but the Lab and Rodrigo both there with 17, Marin with 15, Brian Carlos had a good year with 12, Almeida with 6. He chipped in. It wasn't his best year, but he did do okay. Nick Roberts as well. We can see a few Thor's it's really good from set pieces. I'd like a few more goals from Leroy, but that's not too bad. And if we look at assists, again, just really evenly distributed. Ignore Lancaster because he's not doing that with us. But Rodrigo, 11 assists to go with his 17 goals. That's a stunning season for him. Silla there with 9 assists. Rashid with 9 assists as well. Kostic, Grealish, Almeida, Fiorini, Roberts, Messi as well. Didn't chip in. It wasn't his stellar season for Messi, but he did enough, didn't he? To sort of say that he was probably... I think overall, let me know what you think. I think overall that the Messi experiment has worked. If we look at what we got out of him, we won 2 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League. We got 16 league goals out of, 42 league games. So, a little bit worse than 1 in 2. I think it worked, especially last year. I mean, last year it worked. There's no doubts about that. But it was 1 in 3. Anyway, I think it worked. But let me know what you think. And then if we look at average ratings, Dali was absolutely... yes, he played against weaker opposition, so that is going to have an impact. But 7.76 in the games he did play, that's stunning. Rashid, though, of course, played the most games in league games to get that. Rodrigo, 7.48. Look at some of these average ratings. It's amazing. Nick Roberts is right up there. Thor, Fiorini. Some of these backups as well. Gary Turpie had a good year. Nepo. Look, you can go down the list. It just continues on and on and on, all the way down. There's only a few players that average below 7, and even then, they're not playing badly. Ball and David Bergkamp, 6.99, that's essentially a 7, isn't it? Paul Walker was, didn't play that many games, but he was fine when he came on. Pedro Enriquez may be the disappointment, but some of subs appearance in there lessens his chance of a good match average rating. But he's the one I think that is expecting better things from him next season. So there we go. That's where we're at. What do we need to look to do? The one thing I'm wondering is, do we need to look to maybe get rid of Callum Chambers? He's still an England international, which, makes me like to keep him. But I just think he's on the decline. If we can get maybe even half of that, 20 million for him. He's been a wonderful player for us, but he is the one, I think. Do we get rid of him? And that then frees up the way for David Bergkamp to play a little bit more, because he's on the up and up. He's beginning to develop into a really good player. I do wonder if perhaps that's the one thing we need to look to do. As always, it's the summer. We'll see what happens, guys. I'll be back with a commercial summary in a little bit, and probably, hopefully, we'll get some few transfers as well. Hey, there's a World Cup to keep track of as well this summer, so we'll keep track of that. Breaking news here at Aston Villa as it emerges the club has broken Premier League financial fair play regulations. The FA chairman has been quoted as saying he intends to throw the book at the three-time Premier League champions, with manager Aussie Villa responding by saying, "Bring it, old man, you don't have the balls." Back to you in the studio. So there we have it, breaking news. We have failed financial fair play regulations. Despite making a profit of almost £500 million, we failed because our wages have risen by too much. So there we go. They threw the book at us, the FA did. £620,000 fine. Like, go away, FA. But that does kind of show how ridiculous financial fair play can be. Over the period in question, we made a profit of £445 million, yet we have failed because our wages are too much. That is outrageous. Anyway, we just got hit with a fine. That's not a problem. That's throwing the book at us, of course. Doing a little bit for the NHS there. Tax bill of 18.25 million. But the commercial summary. This is why we've come back. And you can see our sponsorship has gone down a little bit, which surprises me given that we're three-time Premier League champions and now back-to-back European champions. But that's okay. Hospitality prawn sandwiches are marching out the door. A little bit of an increase there. Match day revenue again. A nice little increase there. Broadcast revenues up ever so slightly. Competition prize money up again ever so slightly. But this is the one I really, really like. It's the merchandise. We have sold just over £24 million in shirt sales. 11 million of that, so getting up towards half was foreign, which is, I think, good. That shows that, we're expanding our horizons. We are outside of the UK now. Grealish was the most popular before defender Rodrigo, Leroy, Rashid. No surprise there. I want a Rashid jersey after last season. And attacking Rodrigo. The top 5 shirt sales. So there we go. Now, the one thing I did want to do for this season, if we can at all, is we've got to look at doing something about our stadium, and we can't do it yet. What else can we do here? Is there anything? Increase transfer percentage? Maybe we can go for that. There's nothing else really to do. I mean, we're just a brilliant club right now. If we do a quick facilities update, because we haven't done that for a little while, but everything's state of the art. We're exceptional junior coaching, extensive youth recruitment. The only thing I want to do is expand we can't do both. Expand or build a new stadium, because 50,000 seats just doesn't quite cut it for us. I want like 120 seater stadiums that just like towers over. So Birmingham City Stadium is literally in the shadow of ours. That's what we want. Kind of like Montgomery Burns, where he puts the shadow over Springfield. I want that to be our stadium. And Birmingham City just literally in our shadow. That's what we're aiming for. Is that going to be possible? I don't know. I'll speak to the architects and see what we can do. But anyway, guys, we'll be back when there's something else to report. Alright, welcome back. Now, the World Cup is about to begin, so I thought let's have a quick look and see all the teams that are here. There's 48 of them, so there's a lot. If we look at Group A, you'd say it's Croatia and US to go through that one, wouldn't you? Canada, Chile, Czech Republic. Sorry, Canada, I don't think you'll get out of that group. Cameroon, Holland, and Honduras. Again, I don't think Honduras will get out of that. Denmark, Japan, and Paraguay. That's an even group, isn't it? If I was betting, I'd probably say maybe Japan don't go through, but that's a tough one. Italy, South Korea, Venezuela, another tough one. I'd probably just about say Venezuela will go out, but that's a tough one. You look at that group, you look at some of the other ones at the top here, you wonder how on earth did these groups get drawn. Colombia, Egypt, and Norway. Yeah, Dali is in Norway's team, as is AR. So we've got a couple of villains in there. So let's say Egypt go out of that one. Iraq, Nigeria, and Portugal. You'd say Portugal will walk that. Probably Iraq to go home. France, Jamaica. Well, France. Who have they bribed to get into that group? And New Zealand. Probably New Zealand to go home. But that's France are loving that, aren't they? Japan. Germany, Mali, and the UAE. I have a sneaky feeling for the UAE on that one. Let's say Mali go home. Burkina Faso, Mexico, and Sweden. Sorry, Burkina Faso. I don't see you getting out of that one. Brazil, Costa Rica. Well, Scotland are at the World Cup, so that'll be happy for them. You'd say they'd probably be better, wouldn't they, than Costa Rica? Argentina, Ghana, and Ireland. That's a tough one as well. These groups are so uneven, aren't they? Yeah, maybe Ireland to go out. I don't know. Or the heat in the US. Maybe that'll favour the Ghanaians. Belgium, China, and Morocco. Belgium's got a nice one there. Probably China to go out of that group, I'd say. Iran, Spain, and Uruguay. You'd probably say Iran to go home, but it's tough. Now, getting behind my head, these are the two big groups, of course. England, Saudi Arabia, and Senegal. England's got to be happy with that. You'd say Saudis will go home. And then the big one, the main group, last and, of course, by far from least, Australia, Ivory Coast, and Serbia. Australia's going through, obviously, aren't they? So it must be Ivory Coast to go home. I don't think we'll get through that one. But we'll come back. We'll check on the World Cup as it goes on and see what happens. But yeah, interesting World Cup upcoming here. Holland are the defending champions. Alright, so we'll do a quick mid-summer transfer update here. Now, we failed to sign Pietro Pellegrini. He went to Manchester United. We agreed a fee. It was 120 million, then 10 million for 50 appearances, 10 million for 50 goals. We could only offer 230 grand a week. He wanted 300 grand a week. We're in a bidding war with Manchester United. I kind of went for him to stop them signing him as well. But I do think with Messi retiring, I wonder if we are a striker short. We've got the lab, we've got Brian Carlos, Rodrigo can fill in up there. We have that young Korean guy coming through, Blake Scully. But I just wonder if we needed just that sort of a first choice, hands down, sort of number one striker at the club, and everyone else can kind of fill in around him. So we went for Pellegrini. Just what I liked about him is that he's very complete. He does have decent passing and vision, so he could play as a deep lying forward to replace Messi as well. Really good finishing, heading. He had everything. Yeah, but he just wanted too much in wages, so we couldn't get him across the line. We have looked to get Callum Chambers out. He's transfer listed right now. I offered him and no one came in for him, but looks like now there is some interest there, so we might try offering him out again. My main concern is I don't want to have to pay any of his wages. Otherwise, I'm not too concerned about a fee necessarily. It's just the wages. I don't want to have to pay any of his wages. What we do need, I think, to wait for that to happen is once we get rid of Messi's wages, these 140 grand a week, I think that will make it a little bit easier to sign players. I'm almost hoping that we might have been able to sign Pellegrini if that had happened, but unfortunately with Manchester United going in, we couldn't wait. We had to sort of go in there and then. Yeah, I do just wonder with strikers if we are a little bit short, because I mean Blake Scully's good, but he's still young and learning. Rodrigo, we can use him as a striker, but we kind of need him as a winger as well. The lab has never let us down, but at the very, very top level, is he good enough? He's really good off the ball. All our strikers are good off the ball. I just wonder, as the number one option, is he quite at that level? Our Korean friend here, he's only 17. He's going to be a really good player, but I don't think he's quite there yet. Enrique, I'm thinking more in number 10 than a striker, perhaps. We're still learning the deep-lying forward role, so I don't really want to rely on him necessarily. The other option, of course, is Brian Carlos. And again, he's good, but is he good enough to be sort of that number one out and out, like, you're our main man? I'm just not quite convinced that he is. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Everything else I'm relatively happy with it. I'd like to get Chambers out if we can, just to free up a little bit more in wages. But otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape. The finances are absolutely killing it. I mean, the fact we could afford £120 million for a player, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? But anyway, that's the midsummer transfer update. We'll keep looking for a striker, see if we can get in that number one guy, but we'll probably have to wait for Messi's contract to expire, I think, to free up those wages. Alright, World Cup update. The group stage has now finished. Let's see how close they got. Croatia and US got through Group A. Czech Republic and Chile, it was Canada that went out in their home World Cup. Defending champions Holland and Cameroon went through. That didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. It was Denmark and Japan. I think I said Japan was going to go home, but they went through at the expense of Paraguay. Italy and South Korea, I think I predicted that. Norway, we've got a few Norwegians in our, of course, villains in there, with Thor, with AR, and with Dali. They've gotten through the group, as did Colombia. I think I did say that Egypt would go home. Portugal and Nigeria, that was pretty straightforward. France and New Zealand got through the group. They beat Jamaica, so well done to them. Mali topped the group against Germany. Germany shooting themselves in the foot there, surely. Mexico and Sweden went through. I think I said that. Brazil and Scotland got through. Well done to them. Ireland and Ghana got through at the expense of Argentina. Wow. Just wow. Belgium and Morocco, Spain and Uruguay got through. England topped their group against Senegal, and topping the group 2 from 2, the Socceroos, go on boys, and Serbia also went through that group. I have a sneaking suspicion the Argentine job may come up though at the end of this World Cup, so we'll wait and see on that one. Oh, hello, and you are? My name is Odalino, I think you pronounce it. Your new Brazilian centre-back. Okay, Aurelino, you say. I don't remember signing you, mate. Are you sure you're at the right club? I see. Yeah, I am sure. Okay. Just give me a second here, mate, will you? Hi, Stig. Hi, mate. I have an Aurelino here who says that we signed him. I did sign him. He doesn't look very good. Are you 100% certain? Okay, we did sign him. Okay, mate. Yep. Not a problem. I'll get him sent down. Okay. Yeah, mate. Well, welcome to Aston Villa. We're delighted to have you here. Could not be happier. If you run on down to the dressing room, and we'll get you set up with some training gear. Alright, and as you can see, we do have a new signing, Aurelino, I think you pronounce it. I forgot I signed this guy, to be honest, 18 years old, just turned 18, so he's come over from Brazil. We did sign him last summer, as it turns out. Yeah, I forgot I'd signed him. I do kind of remember doing it now. I think it was supposed to be at the time a Callum Chambers replacement anyway, and then we signed Thor, and didn't really end up needing him. So he's here now. We've got him. We'll send him down to the under-23s. He doesn't look that good, does he? He's got good positioning, I guess. He's only 18. There's room for him to develop. 3-star, potentially a 4-star player. So he's here. We'll get used to it, I guess. I don't know. Now, we did have a bid come in for Nick Roberts as well. 27.5 million. Obviously, I'm not going to sell him because he's one of our own. But it was tempting. It was really, really tempting. Now, the other news, we are struggling still to get rid of Callum Chambers. We did have bids from West Ham and Blackburn for £30 million, and he rejected their contracts, which is slightly annoying. I would have loved £30 million for Callum Chambers. I'm happy with 20. I think he's worth about 30. He's worth 35. So yeah, I'd be happy with 20. If we could have got 30 for him, I would have been absolutely elated, but not to be. But we do have potentially a signing coming in. Now, I did say when we played Southampton this year, I was scouting this guy with intent to sign. We're living up to that intent. He's really good off the ball. He's got good finishing, good first touch dribbling. His physicals, he's really, really quick. He's not too bad in the air as well. So we've made a bid. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I just think we need sort of that headline striker, just to make sure that we're going to get the goals, and then we have our others to sort of fill in around, fight for places. I'm tempted to go looking at 2 strikers this year as well, just to change things up a little bit so we don't get too predictable. So if we're going to look to do that, then having that extra body up top is going to be a good thing. But nothing to confirm there as of yet. But anyway, Aurelino, we've got a new Brazilian. Alright, a quick World Cup update. The second round has taken place, which is effectively the old World Cup. 32 teams get through. Let's have a look at the headlines, though. England got through, as did Australia. Look at us go, 4-2. We'll have a look at the second round draw in just a second. Sorry, the third round draw in just a second. But look at this. Jack Grealish, 2 Men of the Match awards, absolutely running the show for the English. And let's have a look now at the third round draw. So it's Chile versus Denmark. It's USA versus Holland. I think Nepo was in that team, so that's a good one for us there. Colombia versus France. Norway, with, of course, our 3 villains up against Portugal. Now, our third choice goalkeeper actually plays for Portugal, so there's a little bit of Villa interest in that one as well. Sweden against Ireland is maybe the soft touch. Germany versus Brazil, there's one for you. Belgium versus Australia, go on, boys. And Morocco, Rashid's Morocco versus Jack Grealish's and Gaz Mosley's England. That'll be a big one as well. We'll come back and see how that goes. We'll come back maybe quarterfinals, semi-finals, coming to the semi-finals and see how things are going. The big question, though, is can Australia beat Belgium? Probably not. Alright, breaking news, and the breaking news is Chris Hughes has signed for Aston Villa. £60 million up front, $5 million for 50 appearances, $5 million for 50 goals. It's a lot of, tell you what, the wages are only 66 grand a week right now, so I mean, he'll want more than that eventually, but that is a really, really good deal for us. Yeah, I think he's going to be a really, really good player. As I said, I really feel like, I said really a lot there, aren't I? But I just think that we needed that frontline striker to lead the line for us, and I think this is our man. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think still room to improve, but he's already a 4-star player. He's already an England international. So yeah, I think that is good. We've annoyed Brian Carlos, but he'll be fine. He'll get over it, I'm sure. We had a quick word to him. I think I just made things worse, to be honest. So there we go. If we look at the World Cup, we're into the quarterfinals now. It's Denmark versus Portugal. It's Holland versus France. It's Ireland versus England in a World Cup quarterfinal. That's a flashback, isn't it? And it's Germany versus Belgium. Australia lost to Belgium. It was close. It was really close. All right, we have some sad news, really. Callum Chambers has left the club. 15 million off to Brighton. We don't have to pay anything of his wages, which is good. He has been a magnificent servant for us. We've doubled our money, what we paid for him. We've got paid 8.75 our first year in the Premier League. And look at this. He was just solid the whole way through. His performance has never dropped off. It's just, I think that we got better players, didn't we? Rodrigo and Forster are just first choice now. AR is back up. We have Dennis Bergkamp the second. David Bergkamp, sorry, the second. Coming through now, as well as our Brazilian wonder kid that apparently we signed. So I just think his time had come. We'd outgrown him. He wasn't going to play. He wanted to play. He was club captain for certainly a while, if not the entire time he was here. I think we wish him well. I certainly wish him well. But he has left the club. No more Callum Chambers. Alright, pre-season is underway, but I thought we'd check back in on the World Cup. We have seen the quarterfinals. Portugal beat Denmark. Holland scraped past France. England absolutely destroyed Ireland. Have a quick look at that. We do have a lot of our boys in this team. You can see Gaz Mosley in goal. Grealish and our new boy Chris Hughes also starting in this one. Callum Chambers is on the bench, but of course not one of our players anymore. So England got through there nicely, and Germany got past Belgium as well. We have a look at the semi-finals, and sorry England, but just couldn't quite get there in the end. Portugal knocked out Germany 3-1. I tell you, their starting goalkeeper, this is our third choice goalkeeper. We're not doing too bad, are we? We should probably look to sell someone, I think. Maybe move this guy on, or the French guy we have that we got on a free last year. But yeah, third choice goalkeeper is going to be starting the World Cup final, which isn't too bad, as I said. Forster, unfortunately for him, got knocked out. Kostic, I don't think actually ended up getting called up to the German team. So we do have at least one player in the Champions League final, in the World Cup final. Unfortunately for us, Nepo got injured, so I think he's out of the World Cup. Otherwise, we would have had two. We would have been guaranteed a World Cup winner. But yeah, this just wasn't to be. Unfortunately, Grealish and Hughes both got subbed off. Gaz Mosley again started the game. He is up to 18 caps now for England. So it's going to be a third place playoff between good old friends Germany and England. And the World Cup final will be between Portugal and defending champions Holland. They could actually defend their title here. So it's Holland that defend their World Cup title. Well done to them. Unfortunately for us, our backup third choice goalkeeper just couldn't keep them out on the day. So there we go. Holland are back-to-back World Cup champions. Now, a bit of other news here. Now, we'll have a look at the third place game before we get to the team of the World Cup. And it was 2-1 that Germany got over England in extra time. It was Jan Forster that got the job done, and a Gaz Mosley own goal. So it's all Villa goals for Germany, unfortunately, in that one. Yeah, but there we go. So it looks like Germany probably just about deserved that overall. But sorry, Gaz, not exactly what you would have liked, I'm sure. But yeah, Forster getting a goal for Germany, which is nice. Now, if we have a look at the World Cup Dream Team, Nepo's in there, which is really, really good. So happy to see him in there. Otherwise, it's a bunch of Dutch and Portuguese players, as you would expect, them being the two finalists. But there we go. Holland back-to-back World Cup champions, and England, unfortunately, fall into fourth. We have a departure to announce. It's George Cadell. He's gone for 5 million, I should say, first off. He's going off to Germany, to Stuttgart. 5 million plus a 50% sell-on clause. He's a good goalkeeper. We signed him on a free transfer, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, free transfer from Clifton Villa in Northern Ireland a few seasons ago. He did okay. You can see he had one spell there in the first team, but he was always going to be a backup. So yeah, 50 million, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? 5 million plus a 50% sell-on fee. I think that's fine, to be honest. It's best for everybody in that case. Now, we're getting towards the end of the transfer window. There's about a week to go. There hasn't been too much going on. 2 bids we have received. I'm not sure if it's still going to show them here or not. No. A couple of youngsters for loan there. We'll have a look at that in just a second. But Wolves came in for AR for our utility defensive player, I'd say, Chris AR. It was £44 million the bid, but to be honest, that's basically what he was worth. I like him because he can fill in at centre-back, he can fill in as a number 6, he can also fill in midfield, so I think he's a really valuable player for us, so I didn't want to sell him, so we rejected that offer, though 44 million is a lot of money, but then to replace him with somebody who could do that role, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who can do that many roles that well. So we rejected that. Now, the other bid that did come in is for Rodrigo. Now, it came in from Paris. It unsettled him. It unsettled him massively. I've had to promise him that we will strengthen the squad so that he's happy to stay. To be honest, I don't think we're going to strengthen the squad much more. I'm relatively happy with what we have. I want to give the youngsters a chance coming through, so I don't necessarily want to sign anyone to replace what's his face who left, Chambers, because I want to give David Bergkamp II. I want to give him football because he's potentially a very good player. We don't need to replace Cadell because we already have 3 ridiculously good goalkeepers. And we got Chris Hughes in, who that was sort of the one place I think we did need to strengthen. Maybe we could do with a right winger, but if we were to sign a right winger, the problem with that is that we would then lose playing time for Nick Roberts, who's not bad. He's not bad at all. That is the one place where we could potentially look to strengthen. But we have good young players in every other position, so yeah, I don't think we're going to necessarily strengthen. Hopefully we'll be able just to see off any interest from Paris and keep Rodrigo happy. The main problem so far has been Brian Carlos upset at the signing of Chris Hughes. He has been horrible in pre-season so far, so hopefully we'll play him a couple of games and you'll see that he's not going to be sort of relegated out of the team and he'll get happy again. But that's where we're at. Will we see too much more? I don't think so, unless there's any sort of big bids that come in towards the end of the window. Yeah, I think we're done, but we'll come back and find out. Alright, the transfer window has now closed. You can see our failed bid to get Pellegrini was the big transfer of the summer. Martin Chen left Arsenal to go to Bayern Munich. That was the second biggest. And we came in with our new signing, a new striker, Chris Hughes. That was the third biggest signing of the summer. So well done to us. We have a quick review of what happened. It was kind of quiet. I had a suspicion it might be. You see, we bought in 20 million. We spent 60 million. Callum Chambers was the big departure off to Brighton. Now, we actually played Brighton in the first game of the Premier League season. Would you believe it? So hopefully we'll get to see Callum Chambers again. Then 98 grand a week he's on to. We got a nice little pay rise out of that as well. Wow. And then of course George Cadell, who we just sold off to Stuttgart, 4th choice goalkeeper. So to get £5 million for your 4th choice goalkeeper, not too bad, I would say. Then the mystery boy that rolled up, Odin Relino, whatever you pronounce that, young Brazilian. He's not registered in the squad. We'll put him down the under 23s, get him used to English football, get him playing and see what he develops into. But yeah, a little bit disappointed in myself for signing him, to be honest. There's better young Brazilian centre-backs around, never mind just general centre-backs. And then, of course, Chris Hughes, the big signing, 60 million, potentially rising to 70 million. I think we could expect big things from him. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I think Chris Hughes could be really, really good for us. So let's have a look at the squad that we have getting ready for this upcoming season. Please, game. Here we go. So the strikers, we have Rodrigo, who can play up front, but will more likely play him on the left, where he's a bit more natural. Chris Hughes is the man here that we've signed to sort of lead us through the season. Brian Carlos, if he gets over his little temper tantrum he's having right now about not wanting to have players signing in front of him, he will be a big player for us, but he needs to sort of get over that, as I said. The lab never lets us down. Always good to have the lab on board. And of course, Pedro Enrique, who can play there as well. And a couple of others to keep of note. Obviously, we have Blake Scully, who's down here, and it's not really for some reason added in there, but he's a good striking option for us, as is our young South Korean wonder kid. He is looking better and better every time I look at his attributes, to be honest. On the left, we have the 3 main options. We have Rodrigo, as I just said, Marin, who is just been a wonderful, wonderful player for us. And Blake Scully as well is an option down that left-hand side. Down the right, Rashid is the main man. I did have a quick flirt of signing another right winger, a Japanese guy that was highly rated, really good physically, but he wanted too much money, so we didn't end up signing him. We'll stick with what we have. Marin can play down the right. The other 2 big guys, though, here, Nick Roberts, who is a very capable backup, and Chris Hughes can play there, but Paul Walker as well. Decent backups in that position. In the number 10 role, which is I think how we're going to look to play a lot of the time this season, Pedro Enrique can play up front, but he is definitely going to be looked to play in that role. Grealish, we know he can play there, but you like him deeper. Thiago Almeida is the other one. It'll be between him and Enrique. And, of course, Alpha Silla, again, can play there. If we look in midfield, our more advanced midfielders to get forward, Jack Grealish, wonderful, wonderful advanced playmaker for us. He's been so good for so long. Alpha Silla just continues to get better and better and better, and he's not even at his full potential yet. Of course, Lee Hendry continues to get better as well, one of the youngsters that's come through the academy. Pedro Enrique could play back here, but he's more likely to be played further forward. And of course, Gary Turpie, again, another one of our youngsters that just keeps getting better and better and better. Now, the other side of things, the defensive midfielders, Leroy is absolute class for us, so we'll look to use him. World-class midfielder, as you can see. AR can look to play in this sort of position, more of a defensive midfielder. Baal is another one of the youngsters that we've had at the club for a while now that is quite good. And Sandro Tonali, he has never, ever let us down. He has just been a really good player for us. Now, a little bit further back in the centre of defence, the two main men are Rodrigo. He is absolutely class, as is Forster, who, of course, got the goal for us in the Champions League final last year. The backups for them, AR, again, just a really, really good, solid player. And the other backup with the departure of Chambers is Thor. Again, signing of the year last year, I think he could do quite well. And then the backups to them, Bergkamp II will continue to develop, I'm sure. And Harry Thomas is always just he never lets us down. He's one of these players that just defies his attributes. He never lets us down. He played a friendly against Barcelona, and I don't want to give away too much, but he did okay. Left back, we have Nepo, of course, first choice left back. Two behind him, Adali, and of course Casey Beck. And then Bergkamp and Harry Thomas can play out there. One position where we are perhaps a little thin, should we get injuries, is on the right side of the fence. Kosic is absolutely world class, as is Fiorini. But we don't really have anything below that in the academy or anywhere else. So that is something we may look. I may do a sort of a quick scout to see if there's any sort of free transfers or maybe like a younger right back, because we really don't have anything coming through the academy. And then at goalkeeper, now bearing in mind we sold Cadell, Gaz will be our first choice this year. But then we have Portugal's first choice, Mario Mahiro, I think you'd pronounce that. And then of course just another guy there, the Alexander Perrier, the Frenchman we signed last summer. We have three goalkeepers that most Premier League teams would use as their first choice. So really, really good. So there we go. That's it for the summer transfer special. As I said, a little bit quiet, but I do think ultimately we've got done what we needed to get done. Maybe a little bit short down the right side. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I'm not going to spend 60, 70, 80 million on sort of a third choice player. So we'll make do with what we've got until we absolutely need to go into the transfer market. But I'm pretty happy with what we have there. So that's all for today, guys. If you have enjoyed that, thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please do subscribe. And don't forget to ring the bell if you want to know when I upload new episodes. But until next time, when we get the season underway against Brighton, against Callum Chambers, I've been Aussie Bill, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.